Good morning, everybody, and welcome back. Today we're going to fix a common problem on a Husqvarna weed eater. We're going to replace the coil. Now, I got this one with tape wrapped up on the coil wire, and it's because the boots come at such a strange angle, and it's so difficult to get to. People accidentally pull the boot and pull it clean off the plug, and they pull the wire off and everything. So let's get started.
Ready to go.
Okay. If you're doing this job, you want to make sure you drain the fuel out first, because you're going to be twisting this thing all sorts of weird directions and flipping it around to get all the screws out. And it just keeps you from making a mess. And on this particular model, organization is everything. You want to keep all the screws together and keep each set of screws with the part that comes off, because you're going to be taking this thing most of the way apart. And losing track of which screw goes where makes it complicated to put back together. Okay. So come on, buddy. Up, 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 up. There we go. So put the nuts with the air cleaner. We could probably leave the carburetor on, but we had to take that off to get to the screw here. So now we'll switch off from our 5/16 to our T25 and get to work on the case. And even if you don't do videos normally, if you've got a tripod, this would be a good one to set it up on. Oh, we're missing one screw on this one. Okay, now we're going to keep these with the cover so we know which one's which. So we got that, we've got that. Let's roll it over and see where our bottom screws are. Here's our bottom screws. And so far we just used the T25. With that, with the case screws. There we go, and that should do the back half of it. At least I think so. Oh, we got to take the side cover off first. And we'll leave the screws in the side cover to go with the side cover. What have we got left? We got another screw here. And as I said, these things are, you got to take pretty much every screw out of the thing to get it apart. Okay, there we go. No, so we got that off, and we had to take that off in order to get the front cover apart to get to the coil. So now we're going to move over to the handle. You notice the handle has different screws on it in it than the rest of it. And I think I can leave that screw in. It's been a few minutes since I did one of these, so I'm not sure for sure. There we go. Let's get these out. Now, if she's still holding still, so it's probably this one. Now, if you won't reach. Look for more screws. Nope, that's about it. She's just hanging on now. There we go. And you can see the front cover extends clear to here, which is why we had to take that apart. Unless I'm wrong, I think these are Allen keys. Nope. They're still on the T25. And make a note that these go here. So put those over here near the handle screws. Now walk your front cover off and look around. You've got screws here, here, here. Let me put you back over here for this part. I had a fighter on that one. And there should be one more under here. You know, this isn't easy to do when you're trying to stay out of the way of the camera. And there we go. That should take it apart. Now when we move this case out of the way, we're going to keep these screws with this case. And we'll carry these two screws over here. And there we go. We can finally reach the coil. Now, if you feel like you've taken it clear down to the bare bones, you're right, you have. So let's take these two screws off on the coil. And it's just two screws holding the coil on. And as I said before, we'll pull the plug wire off. As I said before, you're going to want a super clean workspace to start with. Now, I don't mean clean like sanitary clean. I mean clean like you don't have a whole bunch of stuff laying around. Because as you can see, we've spread out over the whole bench for this one. We're using up lots of turf. Now we're going to keep these two screws in our hand. Okay, let's get the new coil loosely in place, and we'll set it up when we're done with that. That'll go here, that'll go there. We'll finger tight them on to start, because we don't want to inadvertently strip. And when you're ordering your coil, make sure you order your coil before taking this coil off. There you go. Now we're going to go kind of snug, because we still have to set our coil up. So you still have a little bit of play there. Okay, we got a little bit of play. We'll get her as snug as we can and still leave a touch of play. And now here is how you set it. And this is actually a piece of cardboard off of one of my microphones from where I bought a new mic. And we'll tighten them down. And after we tighten it down, we'll check to make sure she doesn't touch. So now let's get her all back together. So we'll get our kill wire back in place. And that's kind of tricky because it just barely reaches. And you want that one to be nice and snug so it doesn't ever get tangled up in this mess. We got our heat shrink where we want it. We've already got a new Champion plug we put in it from when we redid the carburetor on this bad boy. Let's route the wire correctly. And remember, when you're doing this, take your time, take your time, take your time. We're going to take our old coil and put her off to the side. And start bolting it back together. This is probably the most entertaining part of the whole thing. But keep track of what order you did everything in and make sure you do reverse order on the way back together. There we go. And since we kept all these screws together, we know they go here, 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 and here. There we go. Now we're going to rotate over. Get all this back in its correct place. You go right there. And you just sit right there for the moment. Remember, the only reason we took this apart was to get to that one screw. Okay, I got the screws started for the shaft. So now let's put the shaft back on. And make a note to make sure you line up the shaft correctly. You see how she just sort of clicked into place? You can tell when you got it perfect, because when you turn it back and forth, you feel it click into place and then slide in an extra ½ inch or so. I'll tell you, when I get one of these Husqvarnas with a bad coil on it, I just shake my head. I think, oh dear, this is no fun. You put that there and click it back into place. Where are you at? Right there. There you go. And that'll hold that end. Which makes it a little bit easier anyway. And once you've got that, you got your little stopper, which some people don't like, but, well, some people aren't me. Okay. Now, the hardest part is keeping that shooting match all together and getting your handle to click in. Okay, we got this side pretty close, so we're going to loosely put a couple screws in. Now focus on making sure everything's lined up correctly. Everything looks good, looks good, looks good. There we go, there we go. And I got one more little click. Yep, looking good, looking good, looking good. Let's put our base screw back in. That holds the whole shooting match together. And you can see where there's just so many screws. Okay, that works. That works. Looking good. So now all we have to do is put the back half back together and we're done. Now we get to do the most entertaining part of the whole thing. Getting the whole back half on. Okay, first thing we'll do is fit this up together. Make sure she's in nice and snug. So you can tell it's right. It's trying to hang on to each other. Okay. This wire goes up here. And if you took lots of pictures, you know that. The foam on one side, get the plug wire out of the way, get this on the other. And this part really is a jigsaw puzzle. But if you're forcing it, it's not together correctly. See, there we go. And the bottom, perfect. Okay. Now we'll take our long screws, put our case back together. First time I ever did one of these, getting this back cover back together, just about wore me out. But like everything, after a while it gets easy. Okay, there should be one more screw under here someplace. And there it is. And that's why I talk about the bench being nice and organized when you start. As you can see, it's a mess now. But if we keep the screws together, then we don't spend too much time wondering what goes where. I remember when this came apart, it was short one screw. It was short this little bottom one. We'll find one of those later. There you go. And if this doesn't want to seat in all the way, pull this a little bit, and that'll usually take care of it. Okay, let's get the other one in. Okay. Now we get to do something we do all the time. Now we're just a carburetor and a gas tank away from functional. So it should be able to hook that and slide it on afterwards. Yep, slides right on. Very nice. We use our needle nose pliers to put the fuel lines back on before we tighten anything up because the air cleaner would be in the way. Okay, come on, buddy. Where are you at? There you are. Say, I don't know how the world survived before needle nose pliers came along. But I say that, and for all I know, these things were invented by the ancient Egyptians. But I got to say thank you for whoever invented them. Okay, everything works. Looks good, looks good, looks good. Everything seems to be moving correctly. See to it that we're seated in correctly. There you go. Wire harness was touching on the back, and you got to watch those little details. Those can be the death of you. You'll have something that you know you got together perfect, and it just doesn't want to run. There's one nice and snug. There's two nice and snug. Okay, a couple little covers on this side, and we're just almost done. And if you took lots of pictures when you started, I know I say it a lot, but those pictures will just save your life. You know exactly how it goes together. And if you lose track of how something goes together, you can reference your pictures. Let me do this. Okay. Throw a spark plug in a tester. That's it. This is as far outside as I want to go in the rain. So we're going to go full choke. Prime, 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 prime. Not bad. Good start. That's what I like to hear. Now, we'd already done the carburetor, so we knew that was going to be fine. We just needed to put the coil on. Now, if you're anything like me, you're thinking, that's a lot of work just because somebody didn't pay attention and yanked the boot off the end. Now, they do make boot kits where you can put the boot on, but I'll tell you, on these Husqvarnas, they don't work as well. That odd angle makes them difficult to use, and it's hard to get a good connection, and it'll be a mystery problem for somebody later. So, all you new people out there, if you made it this far, you might as well subscribe. It's free, and it's what we work for. So, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.